In this particular video, we will be talking about how women should not, and I repeat, they should not have a type. Now, you know, I've heard a lot of gals talk about things, and even I've heard some videos of gals speak amongst other gals, and you know, I heard one gal, she would be like, "Yo, when it's all said and done, the type of person, well, they love to say, a lot of gals love to say partner. They shouldn't be saying partner, but that's my opinion. Uh, but uh, but yeah, they'd be like, it shouldn't matter what type of partner you have at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, as far as it shouldn't matter, yeah, but get to the point of where women shouldn't even have a type. And I've talked about this before in certain ways, but uh, overall, like, here's the thing, like, the way this goes in regards to just everything that's heterosexual, like, if we're talking about the way a man should lead and things like that, like, well, it should be based on the type of woman that man should have in his life, and she suits that, right? And whereas he's already made a certain way as a man, like to where her type as a woman fits what he's about as a man, you know. But these are conversations that are hard for people to have. Like, just thinking about the word itself, like I said, for men is uh women shouldn't have a type, should men have a type? Yeah. But this is what it's about. Okay, so because I did a live stream about this called The Prototype Woman, and y'all could check that out. Just look up Prototype Woman. I believe I have it in my playlist titled Black Knight's Perspective. And in there, I talked about the prototype woman, right? But just the word itself, prototype, just prot itself, okay? Because prot even is used for the word protect, right? So prot, proto, but what is the word prot itself? Prot is actually part of a Greek word, which simply means before. So in the case of prototype, before the type, before you type. Yeah, so it's based on conceptualization of things that a man has in mind for a woman. So in this sense, that's very masculine. So what happened is that a lot of things have flipped toward now a lot of gals have taken on certain cues of what they think a man should be like, and it has not gone well over time as we've seen. But what we do see now is women don't really have a prototype, they have an archetype. Okay. So it's based on whatever the initial guy that she had got around, and based on that, it kind of adds up to a certain archetype as time goes on. So the archetype is based on like an individual that they have certain attributes based on a certain type of person or thing that they're used to or that they're more familiar with. So the reason why she can't have a prototype man, because with a lot of the femininity, it's not in their nature to really like conceptualize a man, but there's certain experiences that they go through, whether good or bad. A certain guy has to meet that archetype versus a man when he's going to conceptualize, when he understands his full masculinity, he's conceptualizing a certain type of woman he needs in his life, you know. So so there's the difference. So but that's the thing. So if women shouldn't have a type, they shouldn't have archetypes. But what we're seeing right now with even this whole idea of some gals not liking last, they're not liking nice guys, because I was going to throw in there the nice guy finished last. But of course, here at this channel, I don't say nice guys finish last. I always say nice guys finish first, but they can be put last. But guess what? They're going to finish first. Won't catch up. I mean, yeah. But see, she didn't know that was actually the right man uh, for her to be his type. Like, and so, but that was when she was young. Now she's been through all this stuff. You fell off from being his type, So uh, that's a good way of kind of letting some things slide, fellas. What I mean is not letting it slide, like letting her get away with it, but just simply letting her go away by just simply being like, hey, you're not my type, and I realize you're not gonna be my type. You know what I'm saying? But what we do see though is a lot of gals, they get more on the masculine side, and they be saying how guys aren't their type. But see, that's why they've been at a flip flop, right? And whereas with guys, they should be saying more that some of these gals aren't their type. That's why they've been at a flip flop. So the problem is, guys aren't saying no enough, and gals aren't saying yes enough. That's the problem that's going on right now. But yeah, it's going back to what I've said before, what I've said earlier in this video about, like, I've heard some gals and they say, like, ultimately it shouldn't matter, who your type should be. And that's true, because it goes back to what I said, that women shouldn't even have a type. Because you tie this in with some other things I normally say at this channel, as far as when you really think about this, it's really part of grow to know instead of get to know. Grow to know is about when not needing to know, um, about a gal not trying to see what type of man he is per se. Because when she says that, it's not that, it's based on her archetype. Yeah, you should be just seeing that he is a real man, not what type of man he is. See that he's a real man, because if it's based on the type of man he is, that's just based on your archetype. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yo, the type of man you want, you might as well go back to the guy that you had. No matter how toxic that relationship was, because now you're trying to fit every guy into this idea of the previous guy that you had versus a guy that has in mind a prototypical type of woman. He's actually trying to cultivate a woman that he never had, but he believes that he deserves. But not that he's being unrealistic. No, he was unrealistic by just taking on any gal that wasn't even his type and trying to make her his type. That was being unrealistic, okay? And whereas, ladies, you being unrealistic by just trying to have your type of man instead of being a man's type, okay? Because that's actually more realistic. Because what happens is, when you become more of a man's type, you actually see what's really a man about him, what makes him the man that he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start to see that actually, and that starts to blossom for you. But for some girls, they can't get out of that because whatever experiences they had and they didn't have guidance, you know what I'm saying? They just gonna always have these archetypes, unfortunately. Men have prototypes, and these typical females that aren't trying to be women, they have archetypes. Because that's their way of trying to conceptualize a man, just as in the way a man conceptualizes a woman. But like I said, amongst the feminine, it's not that it's in her nature to really conceptualize. It's just certain things that she's been through that kind of, she starts to put together this idea of what she think a man is. So that's why some girls, they're attracted to a certain guy that look a certain way, behave a certain way, act a certain way, and all that doesn't make up what a man is. Like, when she actually gets out here in the real world and starts to interact with guys that are like real men, and then the real man that she has, she's hoping that he has some type of dysfunction about him, because that's what she's used to, or she just has to see that there's something wrong about him. And it's like, no, he's gonna be trying to make things right, even if something goes wrong, because it's in his nature to fix things. So, um, but yeah, like, ladies, don't try to have a type. Don't try to have a type. No, you just end up having typos. Because then you'll be like, speaking of typos, you'll be like, well, I thought that was the type of man I wanted. Yeah, and the type of guy you keep wanting and all that. That's the type of guy that keeps typo. That's the typo guy. Get it? The typo making you a psycho, right? Just saying. The typo made you a psycho. Like in you're probably a psycho too, like but when ladies stop having types and become more of a prototype, like because like I've said before, like a prototype doesn't test the tester. Okay. Like when you are becoming more of a man's type, you don't try to test him. You show him that you tested. And you know what I'm saying? And in this sense, you tested negative as far as being infectious, if you will. And on the flip side, you pass the test. Okay? Like you're there, you stand the test of time, you can do all these things. So that's the type of woman that a man is looking for. Whereas, ladies, that's what a man is all about. Okay? It's not that you look for that type of man. No, that's what being a man is all about. I repeat, that is what being a man is all about, ladies. So no need for you to have a type.